Welcome back to another Carl's Q&A. Today we are going to be discussing screen maintenance. Alright, so question here is, how do I get ball marks off of my screen? So golf ball marks are a normal part of using a simulator. You'll see it possibly from the first time you hit a golf ball into the screen. You'll see a dimple. You might see even a burn mark, depending on the shot that you hit. Totally normal. You can try to get rid of it by going through normal screen cleaning using different substances like this is what we use in our warehouse. It's called LA's Totally Awesome. You can use like a wet rag with maybe a little bit of dish soap on it, that sort of thing to try to clean the screen. But again, ball marks, it's going to happen possibly every time that you hit into the screen. So the reason you see those marks, especially the burn marks, is you hit a ball into the screen and that ball impacts the screen. And it might seem like it just bounces straight off, but it doesn't. The ball hits the screen and it actually stays there. It might just be for a fraction of a second, but the ball is in contact with the screen and that ball is spinning as it's on the screen, and that's creating friction, that's creating heat on the screen, and so that will create just a little bit of a burn mark that you may see as you're hitting. Our next one isn't really a question, it is, I got grass stains on my screen, help. Yeah, that's something that's going to happen with this. We always say prevention is the best. Make sure that if you're using golf clubs that you had been using outside, clean them. Make sure they're nice and clean. You don't have any sand from a bunker. You don't have any grass left over in the grooves or anything like that. Make sure you're using clean golf clubs. You need to be using golf balls that are dedicated for indoor use. You don't want to have any Sharpie marks or anything like that. Otherwise, those can transfer over to your screen as you're hitting. But if you did use a club, say that you had been using outside, you forgot to clean it, you got grass on the screen. Again, it's just going to be a matter of getting that screen clean as soon as you can, using either a nice clean white rag with a little bit of water and dish soap and wiping that on the screen to hopefully get it off, using something like LA's Totally Awesome, which we found works well. Or for bigger stains, we also have tried and been successful with a handheld carpet cleaner. We have a video that goes through the cleaning process, so we will link that in the description. But one thing I always point out anytime I mention screen cleaning is when your screen gets wet, make sure you dry it as quickly as possible. That is going to be, you put a fan or two blowing on the screen, or you have a hair dryer that you go over the screen with on a low heat setting. Doing that is going to minimize the chance of seeing water stains on the screen. If you just let it air dry naturally, it can create even more of a problem because those water stains will tend to show up. Next question, how long should my screen last? So this is another question that comes up a lot even before people purchase a screen from us, is how long will it last? And that is a tough question to answer. There's a lot that comes into play when it comes to screen longevity, golfer skill, the distance that you're hitting from the screen, your exact setup, the equipment that you're using, all that sort of stuff can come into play when it comes to screen longevity. You know, if you are a pro and you're just bombing drives into the same spot on that screen over and over and over again, that spot on the screen is going to wear down a lot faster. Whereas if you're someone who is very inconsistent and is hitting all sorts of different parts of the screen, your screen is going to take longer to wear down. The equipment that you use will come into play. If you have a ball that has like a cut or any nicks in it, that sort of thing, like we talked about before, the ball's going to hit the screen and it's going to spin. And if your ball has a cut in it, that is going to eat away at the material on your screen and cause it to wear down faster. We found that if you have something right behind the screen, like I know it's popular to put like shipping blankets or mattress pads or something like that behind the screen to try to cut down on bounce back and noise. But if you have something right behind the screen, we've actually found that that's going to accelerate the wear on your screen because that's creating a pinch point where your ball hits the screen, and normally we say leave 12 inches of space behind the screen for that to be able to deflect backwards, absorb the shock of that ball hitting. If you have something right behind, the ball hits the screen and it doesn't have anywhere to go. So it's creating a pinch point right there that will affect the wear, and it's not allowing the force of that impact to dissipate across the screen as well. So it's going to kind of concentrate that impact right in that one spot and cause excessive wear. You also want to make sure that you're standing at least 10 feet away from the screen as you're swinging. Anytime you call us, talk to us about your setup, we will always recommend at least 10 feet. That is one part of it is for safety. You want to make sure you're standing back a ways in case the ball bounces back. But that also is for screen longevity. The closer you are to the screen, the more force it's going to take at impact, the more wear you're going to see on that screen. So how long should it last? Again, it's tough to say. I've seen people in a commercial environment who have people using the screen all the time call us after 6 or 8 months and have to get a replacement. I've talked to people who've had their screen for 5 years, call in needing a replacement. So there's quite a bit of variability depending on your setup. All right, next question. How do I get rid of wrinkles in my screen? So wrinkles, again, are a normal part of having a golf impact screen. When we are making screens here, we make them all to order. So they cut, sew it, and then they box it and ship it right away to minimize the amount of time that it is sitting in a box folded, to try to minimize the amount of wrinkles that you see on the screen. But it still takes a few days to get to you, and maybe you leave it sit in the box for a few days afterwards. So you are going to see wrinkles on the screen. The best way to help minimize those is just hang the screen, get tension on it, and use it. Over time, those are going to start to fade. If you want to accelerate the process, we have tested using a steamer on the screen and found that that does an excellent job of eliminating wrinkles very quickly. That's something where, again, we've done a video on that, and I'm sure we will link that in the description below. You just want to make sure that your steamer, as you're doing it, the hot surface of the steamer isn't physically touching the screen, because that can melt the screen and cause it to become damaged. But we have more details on that in our screen steamer video. My screen is too saggy and warps the image. How do I fix this? If you're using one of our enclosures, the biggest thing that you want to make sure is that you have double checked the size of your enclosure, make sure the outside dimensions are matching what you have on your cut sheet, and that you haven't over tightened the cable at the bottom of the screen. As you tighten that cable, if it gets to be too tight, it can pull up at the center, causing waves in the screen and can make it look saggy. So if that cable is tightened, you can loosen it up, and generally we'll see that cable start to relax and hopefully get rid of some of those wrinkles. Other than that, it's just a matter of playing with the tension on the zip ties around the screen, making adjustments all the way around until you find a good level of tension on the screen that helps eliminate those wrinkles. And it just can take time and some trial and error to find what works best for your setup. If you are having issues with finding that kind of sweet spot for screen tension, we will have links below showing the setup process for our C-Series enclosures. Really the big thing is you want the screen to start off hanging loose and then adjust that tension to start tightening it down and finding a good level of tension that works for you. I have a hole in my screen. Does Carl's Place have patches available? While we do have patches that we can send to you to try to repair any small holes that may occur more towards the middle of your screen, we just always kind of warn that it is a short-term solution. It's kind of like putting a Band-Aid over the problem, where it might get you a little more life out of your screen, but once you start seeing holes develop, that's generally a good sign that it is a time to replace your screen. So the patch itself is essentially just another small piece of screen material that you're going to cut to fit in the hole in the screen, and then you put some backing on that patch. Again, to just extend the life of your screen by a little bit. Doesn't necessarily look the best as you patch the screen, because you will see where that hole is and where the backing is. So not super aesthetically pleasing, but it is a good short-term solution if you want to try to hold off on replacing the whole screen. So that is all the questions we had today on our screen upkeep. If there's any other questions that you have that we didn't answer in the video, please let us know in the comments below. And as always, we will see you in the next one.